Hello everyone. Another black and white video just for fun. To get right into it, I hope that the contempt and derision I feel for certain people out there, the white nationalists, the libertarians who believe their magic fairy dust isn't magic fairy dust, the race realists who get very offended when you call them racists, the people who interpret scientific papers the way it suits them at the time, rather than attempting to ask, okay, what was the null hypothesis that the paper was attempting to disprove, that the study was attempting to disprove. Essentially, people who shit all over reality, or at least their own little conception of it. And I don't want to be too derisive and give you too much credit for anything, because really the Republicans, the religious right in this country, and I'm speaking particularly from an American perspective because that's what I know best, have done far more than you ever will to bring about the, if not the death, then the kneecapping of a respect for the sciences and for logical thinking and for not pretending that your subjective opinion about the worth or worthiness of life is necessarily objective just because you feel it really, really strongly and because you can argue yourself into thinking so. And what I mean by this is, well, there's been kind of a death of two things, or at least a massive wounding of it. Fairness and an agreement on having to refer back to reality when writing policy positions, as opposed to merely declaring by fiat that no, pi is equal to 3, to cite that old law in Tennessee that was roundly mocked. But what I mean by the death of fairness is that it used to be, games used to be a great benchmark for fairness. How people entertained themselves was a great measure of the fairness you could expect in the larger society in a rule of thumb way, just personally useful to me. And with the rise of microtransactions and free game, but you can also buy a subscription, you can also, basically it's become the more you pay, the more you get. There is no equal playing field anymore. Which is sort of a reflection of the acceptance in the larger society of, well, we can't do shit about the rich. They get more. Let's be like them. And I'm not saying that there is a necessary causal relationship. I'm just saying that the two seem to move in sync. I don't know why, but it's interesting. And in a nice segue, we often notice when this happens a tendency towards he who has the gold makes the rules, becoming the golden rule in the society, overtly rather than just implicitly. And in that case, we have the best example of this is the Bush administration's attempt to destroy science as a respectable field. The last 30 to 40 years of throwing hand grenades into the social sciences, especially economics, in order to rewrite the rules of play, as it were. Only this time the play for producing policy. Excuse me. And really, the idea of being able to wish something so, and by that I mean, okay, well, the free market really is better, and, magic fairy dust will happen, and there really won't be any racism if we just allow people to do what they want, and people will vote with their wallets and vote against racists, and racist businesses will fail, forgetting about such things as the dominant culture in an area, perhaps meaning that non-racist businesses would suffer horribly, especially in the Deep South during segregation. The idea that people can do that just... You used to depress me, now I just think you're fucking silly. And you need to be mocked and taunted and made to, run around in stupid circles as much as I possibly can. Just because the more frustration and anger you express, the more of an idiot you look like. And the happier I am. That's it. So, I hope you fail at life, because you're doing a pretty good job already. As to everyone else, happy Labor Day weekend. Stay in touch with reality. It's not that bad a place. It really isn't. And thank you for your time and attention.